The next question by Sayyid Abdul Rahman, Manchester, UK. Assalamu alaikum Zakir Sahib and everyone in the organization. Why is pork haram? A similar question is asked by Naimur Rahman. I am a student from Magura, Bangladesh. Why is it forbidden to eat pork in Islam? The question asked is, why is it forbidden to eat pork in Islam? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the glorious Quran, in no less than 4 different places. In Surah Baqarah, chapter number 2, verse number 173. In Surah Ma'idah, chapter number 5, verse number 3. In Surah Anam, chapter number 6, verse number 145. And Surah Nahl, chapter number 16, verse number 115. Allah says, Hurrimat alaykumul maitutu waddamu walamul khinzir wama uhilla li ghayrillah bi. Forbidden for you for food are dead meat, blood, the flesh of swine, and any food on which any name besides Allah's name is taken. So in no less than 4 different places in the Quran, it is clearly mentioned that dead meat, blood, the flesh of swine, that is pork, and any food on which any name besides Allah's name is taken, it is prohibited. So anyone who's a Muslim, who believes in the Quran, he will abstain from eating pork. Pork is also prohibited in the Bible. It is mentioned in the Bible in no less than 3 different places. It's mentioned in the book of Leviticus, chapter number 11, verse number 7 and 8. It says that the swine, though he divides the hoof and has cloven foot, yet it chews not the cud. He is unclean for you. Of their flesh ye shall eat not, of their carcass you shall touch not. They are unclean for you. A similar message is given in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter number 14, verse number 8, where it says, the swine, though it divides the hoof, yet it chews not the cud. It is unclean for you. You shall not eat the flesh. You shall not touch the dead carcass. You shall not touch the dead carcass. It is unclean for you. The similar message that pork is prohibited is also repeated in the book of Isaiah, chapter number 65, verse number 2 to 5. So no less than 3 places the Bible prohibits the Christians from having pork. Similarly, even in the Hindu scriptures, it says in the Vishnu Shitra, chapter number 24, verse number 1, that you shall not sell the flesh of swine. So selling pork is prohibited. Now let's analyze the person. May not be religious, he may not follow the Bible, he may be a Christian, but yet, or he may be atheist. So how do we convince an atheist or a non-Muslim who does not believe in religious scriptures that pork is prohibited? Today science tells us that if a person has pork, there are chances that the person can have 70 different types of diseases. There are various ailments that a person can have if he eats pork. He can have roundworm, he can have pinworm, he can have hookworm, and one of the dangerous ailments that a person can have if he has pork is called as Taenia solium. In layman's terminology, it is called as tapeworm. It harbors in the intestine, it's very long, and the ova, the egg, via the bloodstream, if it goes to the brain, it can cause memory loss. If it goes to the eye, it can cause blindness. If it enters the heart, it can cause heart attack. If it enters the liver, it can cause liver damage. It can enter almost all the organs of the body. And by the time you realize it, it's too late. It is very dangerous. The other dangerous ailment is trichura trichurasis. And many people have a misconception that if you cook the pork very well, you will not have these diseases. In fact, there was a research in America that out of the 24 people who were suffering from trichura trichurasis, 22 had cooked the food very well. That means cooking your food in normal temperature that you can gain in home, in the normal cooking facility, it doesn't kill the helminths or the germs that are there in the pork. Fourthly, today's science tells us that the pork has very little muscle building material. It has more fat. And people who have pork, you find there are fat deposits on the vessels, which leads to atherosclerosis, which causes hypertension, which also causes heart attack. Furthermore, we know today that the pig is one of the most filthiest animal. And you find the pig normally is there where there is dirt and muck and filth. You know, in the villages where we don't have modern toilets like the way we have, people normally go for the call of nature in the open air, you know, they go for defecation in the open air. And you find very often the pig comes and cleans up all this. It's a scavenger. It's its own reason. There may be some people who argue that, okay, this may be in the poor country that the pig is dirty, but if you go to the advanced country like Australia, they are kept in hygienic places, they are kept in sty. But even in Australia, there's not one pig kept alone in a sty. There are few pigs put together. And today science tells us, we know that the pig eats the excreta of the other pigs. It even eats its own excreta. Imagine. It thrives on that. You don't have a person 24 hours manning the sty that whenever the pig defecates, they pick it up. No. So even in the most hygienic country like Australia, the pig eats its own excreta and the excreta of its friend. And I would like to add one more point, that today's science tells us that pig is one of the most shameless animal on the face of the earth. It is the only animal that invites its friends to have sex with its mate. That means the pig invites its friends and enjoys seeing his mate having sex with a friend. And today what do we see in the Western countries? It's very common in America that they have dance parties. At the end of the dance parties, you are swapping of wives. You sleep with my wife, I sleep with your wife. Is this good? And the answer is no.